and welcome you to the committee, and also to the ranking member and my sister from New Mexico. And also I want to welcome all of our tribal leaders who are here not only on the panel but in the audience and also tuning in today. Thank you for traveling and thank you for being here with us today. I'm Melanie Stansbury and I represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District, which is proudly home to a number of tribes and pueblos in New Mexico. New Mexico, of course, is home to 23 federally recognized tribes and pueblos. And the first thing that I want to just acknowledge is that while we're here to talk about economic development opportunities, our tribes and pueblos are already economic powerhouses in New Mexico and are, in fact, among some of the largest employers and generators of income in the state. In fact, amongst our tribes and pueblos, 19 of our 19 pueblos generate over $500 million in revenue alone every year in our state and employ over 11,000 people statewide. These enterprises are vital not only to our tribal communities, but also to our local and regional and state economies and are primary sources of funding for tribal governments, as our tribal leaders know here, to fund vital services, including emergency services, roads, elder support, and so much more. I also want to just take a moment to highlight a couple of the pueblos and tribes that are in our district, in the 1st Congressional District. In particular, Sandia Pueblo, which is just north of Albuquerque, which is my hometown, employs thousands of residents living in the Albuquerque area and has quite a diversified economic portfolio. And Mescalero Apache in the southern portion of my district operates an amazing set of enterprises around the hospitality and ski businesses, as well as a number of other major enterprises in southern New Mexico. But as I was listening to the testimony this morning and also reading your testimony, I was struck by the number of barriers that still obviously are presented to so many of our tribal nations in terms of self-determination and nation building that extend far beyond even the conversation that we've had here today. And so, Madam Chairwoman, while we have made a number of huge steps forward in passing the bipartisan infrastructure law, which made massive investments, hundreds of millions of dollars of investments that have not yet hit many of our communities in terms of roads, water, broadband, and as well as the Inflation Reduction Act, which will bring a lot of money for energy infrastructure, water infrastructure. And we know that Secretary Deb Haaland and our president have made a strong commitment to tribal consultation, nation building, and economic investment. I was particularly struck by Chairwoman Saunders' testimony about the many and multivariate barriers, whether it's infrastructure, broadband, all of these things. So I want to just do a quick lightning round for all of our panelists because we do have limited time. You've presented testimony to us today, and I'm going to put you each on the spot. This is an opportunity to present to all of us and to the country. If there was one thing that you could do in Congress that you personally think would have a major impact on economic development in your communities or across our tribal nations, what would it be? And I'll start with Mr. Klatouche. Yeah.
The Buy Indian Act.
Okay, and Mr. Rupnik?
There's a couple of things, one of them is dual taxation. I know that isn't a area for this committee here too, but restricted fee, allowing nations more tools in their toolbox to be able to use the land as they best see fit.
Thank you. Vice Chairwoman?
I would say the additional funding for resources for technical assistance and providing education and really looking at the different ways of the bureaucracy such as BIA and just the process in itself to try to streamline those timeframes and the processes in itself for the benefit of all.
Thank you. And Mr. Robinson?
Great, thank you for the question. I really think continuing to promote self-governance and tribal sovereignty by allowing tribes to manage their lands and resources according to tribal laws and regulations and tribal policies to meet tribal goals and objectives.
All right, well, I'm amazed that we got through everyone. Obviously, this is just the first chapter of hopefully many conversations about hopefully bipartisan legislation we could advance to help support our tribal nations. So we appreciate you being here today, and thank you, Madam Chairwoman.